r/askreddit. What total dick move did you experience? I used to work at KFC. On my first day they had me on register, and this lady walks up to order. I was moving rather slowly, so I told her it was my first day and apologized for taking so long. She seemed super nice and understanding, so I thought I was in the clear. As I handed her receipt, she says, "Where's my free drink?" You told me I got a free drink. I definitely never said this and was confused as shit as to what to do, because it was obvious she was trying to take advantage of it being my first day. She then waves my manager over, tells her I promised her a free drink and that she expects a free drink now. My manager threw me a dirty ass look as she hands this lady a cup. Luckily a co-worker was standing nearby and confirmed that I never told her anything about a free drink, so my manager let it go. Guaranteed that lady does this everywhere she goes. Years ago, working a similar job, the customer's total rang up as something small like $3.55. They reached into their pocket and pulled out a ton of change and started counting it out in nickels and such. Handed me a fistful when they were around $1.50 and continued to count. I was new and dropped the change into the till. As soon as I did, the customer stopped stalling and put the rest of their change back in their pocket and claimed they'd paid in full. The partial payment was now mixed with the rest of the till, so I had no way to dispute and they got away with like $2 off their meal. Explained to my manager my till would be short that day. Fortunately she was nice and I learned not to put the money away until the transaction was complete for a relatively low price. My dad had a baby with his then 18-year-old girlfriend when I was 15. He gave me a debit card to his bank account and she had one too. He was a truck driver at that time, so he instructed me to withdraw $40 from his account every Tuesday when he got paid. My mom was broke. He wasn't paying child support, so this money was my lunch money and money for necessary items like tampons. Dad's girlfriend got the whole rest of his check for her and the baby. For a while, the girlfriend was buying the baby some new swing or bouncer that he didn't need every week. One week, she wanted to buy this huge saucer thing with all of these toys attached to it. It was really expensive and she fell about $40 short of being able to afford it. So, she got up really early in the morning, like 5 AM, before she knew I'd be awake to go to the ATM, and she withdrew all of the money so she could buy the baby the swing and I wouldn't get any money to eat with. Wait, what? You were 15 and your new stepmom was 18? Posted this in another askreddit yesterday. Met a couple in an airport bar leaving Vegas. Guy's bragging about $sign he won, house and income he has back home. I'm 23, working as a barback and living at parents. He suggests we play blackjack to pass time, insists we play for $sign, $5 per hand, in his terms low stakes. So overhead announcement comes for him to board and I'm up $25 bucks. He refuses to settle up and said it was just for fun. And that's why gambling is illegal outside of authorized establishments. Wow, intense flashbacks to childhood where whenever you beat a sore loser at a game, they'd declare it was just a practice round. My friend slept with my wife just because. I'd probably count that one. Had a project a former manager wanted me to work on. Right after I started it, another guy said he wanted to help with the documentation. No problem. When the project was finished, he turned the whole thing into management and took my name off it. Ended up getting promoted for the great job he did when actually he didn't do shit. What a piece of human garbage. Why didn't you go tell your manager what the prick did? I would have been livid and I would have doggedly pursued justice to my last breath. When I was in grade school, my family was one of the poorer families in a private Catholic school. I didn't know it at the time, but I was only there because of loans from my wealthier uncles. So it was a rarity that I ever had money, whereas most of my classmates had at least some kind of allowance. I don't remember how, but one day I had a few dollars. One of the most popular guys in my grade did not have money for lunch, and I packed every day anyways, so I lent him the money needed, thinking we might even become friends as a result. Several days later he still hadn't paid me back. So I asked him nicely about it. His response was to loudly sigh and say, "I don't feel like dealing with this," reach into his pocket, and pull out the amount he owed me in quarters and dimes. Then instead of handing the coins to me, He threw them across the room onto the floor, making me go search for them on my hands and knees beneath chairs. It has been over 20 years since that happened, and I feel petty and small whenever I think about it. But I still can't help but think about it occasionally. And whenever I do, I still get the urge call that guy up and say, fuck you. Just remember you were the one prepared. You were the one with the money. You were the one that got paid back. He likely can't even remember it, but in the end you were the one with compassion and empathy. You can't buy that. And plugged my computer so they could be the first to send an email to HR. The first person that complains usually wins. Of course, if you include in your email to HR, in fact, it has gotten so bad that Person X even unplugged my computer right before I sent this correspondence to you because S. He believes that you will believe him/her over me if S. He contacts you first, then you can undo that ill-gotten competitive advantage. Got invited to a trip with friends because they didn't want to pay the single supplement fee for the room. They essentially fucked off for the entire week once we got there and didn't include me in anything. I don't talk to these people anymore. On the plus side, I did end up meeting some nice people on the trip and went deep sea fishing twice with them and checked something off my bucket list, which was catch a marlin. I used to be an architect and was on a team that won an award for a building. The team was supposed to fly to another city, go to the reception, stay overnight and fly back the next morning, and come to work in the afternoon, all on the company dime. First time I had been able to do something like that. The project I had moved on to when this was going on was a dumpster fire because the manager didn't have the spine to stand up to the constant changes of the client. He told the whole team that we needed to work all weekend on the latest changes to still meet our original deadline on Monday, changes to 12 multi-story buildings, and said I couldn't afford to miss any time. So I had to tell the other team I couldn't go on the awards trip. After the team left for the airport, I found out from a third party that the client had given us an extra 4 days on the deadline because of the last minute changes, and the manager kept that from the team on purpose so we'd work for free on the weekend. I let a friend use my house for a birthday party. Understanding was that I was just providing the space, she'd provide the booze, liquor, food, and do all the cleanup afterward. She got fucking trashed, passed out, and at some point took an Uber home, leaving me with all the mess. Her guests made a mess of the house and backyard, smoked cigars in the basement without asking if it was okay, and raided our liquor cabinet, including drinking a few bottles I'd been saving for a special occasion. My brother's new high school baseball coach that came in his senior year wanted to build up his freshman roster, make a name for himself, and pretty much benched 90% of the seniors. None of them got to play in front of the college scouts that season. In the final game of the year, my brother got to get on the field, outfield, not his position, one time. Now my brother loved baseball, he was a pitcher and would get there early just to rake the dirt and make the place look perfect, pick up trash that had blown in, etc. So as a parting gift, the coach gave him a thanks for being a good groundskeeper plaque. Very rarely have I seen a person cry from hatred, but this was one of those times, and he threw that trophy in the baseball dumpster as we walked out. Brother wrote off baseball from that day forward. My dad's funeral was on Valentine's Day, and the guy I was dating at the time said he didn't want to send me flowers that day. Obviously I was getting flower deliveries for the funeral, and said he promised to make my birthday 3 months down the road extra special. On my birthday, he asked me to pick him up at the airport 2 hours away, and dumped me as soon as I pulled in his driveway. My mom sold me a car when I was 16. When I was 18, she told me I'd need to get off her insurance. Then she told me I didn't technically own the car, because she was still paying on it, and so I couldn't have the title. So I couldn't insure it. I ended up giving it away for a demo derby. An actual dick move I experienced was way back in a school when the kid next to me nudged me, pointed under the desk and revealed that he could lift a small stack of pennies with his semi-hard on. Good work, Steph. When you're in puberty, it's natural for your private parts to experience some change. My girlfriend asked me to buy some wine bottles as a gift for her and leave them at her place while she was at work. I did as she asked. A few hours later she texts me saying thanks, but she had been doing some thinking and felt it was time we saw other people. At least she said thanks. My friend and I were eating at a diner when we were in college and two ladies sat with us. I really hit it off with one and he wasn't really connecting. Later on, my friend sent the friend a really mean text and called her a bitch because she didn't hook up with him. The woman I was interested texted me something to the effect of, "You seem nice, but your friend was really mean and I'm not going to choose you over my best friend." He felt no remorse for that.